I define success as waking up and being happy and being able to do what you want to do at all times.
Yeah, and as a parent, would you rather have your kids be successful or happy? That's an easy one, right?
It's super simple. And we are absolutely at an inflection point where there's people like me and different things happening where we're starting to have different conversations. Like freedom is what everybody's chasing, but they're confused about what it actually looks like. It's not how much you make, it's how much you spend. There's a lot of people who could be way more free if they didn't overextend themselves on what they're buying. Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah,
it is the poison of our society. It is.
So that's your definition of success. What's the role of failure and why, again, putting myself
Micro failure in the process
Sorry?
are you asking me the role of failure in getting to success?
As part of it, if it's, is it related? Is it a necessary part? I'd put myself in a group of people who you don't want to fail when you're younger. It's going to be embarrassing. You've had all these successes. You've done well in school. You've done wrong. And to have a failure. And now, I think that's the one thing at this point in my life. It's like, did I take enough risk? Did I put myself out there enough?
You definitely didn't.
What's that?
You definitely did not.
Yeah.
And here's how I know it. At least, again, one man's point of view, I'm not sure anybody is taking enough risk from 20 to 30. Yeah. It is the most interesting thing that I've been thinking about, which is it is never more practical to be disproportionately risky than from 22 to 30, yet everybody goes the other way because now they're the real world and it's time to prove something to their parents, to themselves, to everybody else, and everybody goes conservative. It is a huge mistake. We need to flip it upside down. Everybody should go ham from 22 to 30 and do a ton of ridiculous shit and figure themselves out. But on your own dime, not your parents.
There's the parents clapping.
So how I think about it is you should go and be rogue and get to know yourself and taste shit from 22 to 30, but you have to live by the ramifications of doing that. And the cost of entry of that is living with 4 people in a studio apartment, eating dog shit food, and not having fancy shit. When you go and do that, but you're being subsidized by your parents, then you're living in a fake environment and you're super fucked.
Tell us about failure and why it's important to fail.
I love it.
Yeah, because you mentioned that you love it.
I love it. I like micro failure. I hate macro failure, like death of your business is bad. But to me, you know what's funny? I'll use a boxing analogy. My favorite boxing, I watch a lot of boxing. I think boxing's a very interesting, and I'm super into mixed martial arts, but I grew up on boxing, I understand it better. And I like watching it because there's so many things that happen in boxing. First of all, what I love about boxing is there's nowhere to hide. It's super interesting, right? There's nowhere to hide. Number 2, there's a scenario in boxing that I love the most. For some reason, there's nothing more interesting to me than watching somebody get knocked down in the first round and then go on to win the fight easily. It's an interesting psyche, right? And I like that, and this is what I'm thinking about it, which is like, here's what's bad in boxing and in business. Going into a fight, getting knocked the fuck out in the first round and losing the match. Bad. Getting knocked down and then having the adversity to readjust to what you got caught on and navigating it to easily win a fight is remarkable. That's how I think about entrepreneurship. The reason so many people struggle with entrepreneurship is you have micro failures almost daily, and they're very in your face. You can't hide. And I like that. I like failure because I think I deserve it. I hate when people don't respect the game. When I fail, it means I fucked up. And I like that because I think people get audacious. My number one thing that I hate about capitalism is that people use it and they love it and they're big capitalists and they love open market and competition and all that. And then they become 73 and they try to use all their money to protect their money. They're not willing to let a young lion eat them the way they ate somebody else. I hate when they try to manipulate it. That's what I love about sports. What I love about sports is when you're 36 and you were once the best player in the league, but now you're getting a little bit older and your body breaks down, you are forced to retire. The one thing that entrepreneurship and capitalism has to adjust to is once you get old and you're tired and you want to be on a yacht instead of working your shit, you should lose some money because you're losing.
And that part, we bring up so many great entrepreneurs, and you're one of them, you hear all the successes, and I think it gets romanticized a lot, just how ridiculously difficult, stressful, sleepless nights, and I do think you have to experience failure, because you learn just the way the human being is wired. You're going to learn 10x with some failure than you are in some adversity.
I'm actually getting excited here. Or let me frame it up a little bit different. Or you love it so much, that you never were able to do anything else, and just the process of playing the game is the success itself. Or you love it so much that you actually don't give a fuck about the trophies, AKA the money that comes along with it. It's that you just wouldn't know how to breathe otherwise if you weren't in the process of entrepreneurship itself. I will never fail because there is no failure. The at-bat is the macro win. If I lost all my money because I did 37 ridiculously bad decisions and over-leveraged myself, the ability to go back to zero and try to buy shit at the dollar store and flip it on eBay and build it back up weirdly excites me more than where I am right now. I swear on my children's health.
No kidding.
The thought of going to zero, having all of you judge me as, see, he wasn't as good as you thought, and then rising back like a phoenix and sticking it in your fucking face excites the shit out of me. I believe that right there is the definition of entrepreneurship. It's when you love your game more than what the game gives you. That's why I like losing. The game told me I lost. Respect to the game. That's why I like playing. I did this when, my friends, I was an entrepreneur when there was no conversation around this. In the 80s and 90s school system and society that I grew up in, I was a failure for making $2,000 a weekend selling baseball cards. I did this when it wasn't cool. I'll do it now while it's cool, and I'll do it again in 15 years when it's not cool again, because the economy will collapse, and because we don't like to be accountable, we like blaming things, and so we're gonna blame entrepreneurship, not the fact that you weren't self-aware and didn't realize that you weren't a fucking entrepreneur. Is right.
It's funny. Last year, Kobe sat right here, and it's almost the exact same thing he said about practice. He loves practice. He loves beating people up in practice, embarrassing people in practice. It's so much about the process, not the result.
100%. 100%. When people ask me what's your failures, I've got none. I found my place. I will do it in perpetuity, and the gratitude that oozes out of my soul is why I put out so much content the way I do, because I'm desperate to give back on something that I realize I was gifted by circumstance, and I feel a level of gratitude and almost a level of guilt and a need to communicate in a framework that so many people in this room did not have the luxury of that North Star or the ability to stumble into their perfect place.